Hello everyone, and welcome back to another LEGO Hermitcraft video. Today, I'm going to show you guys all 24 days of my custom LEGO Hermitcraft advent calendar, as well as showing some quick behind-the-scenes little things of how I made some of the figures and designs. So let's get started. Here is obviously the advent calendar without anything in it, which you could see in the very first video I released. The first day was Festive Base. Second day was a Fireplace, which is obviously minifigure scale or about that. Third day was the first minifigure, which is false with a diamond axe. The fourth day was a zombie with a red cap that's meant to be like a Christmas themed hat, but it's the same exact zombie figure in all the Minecraft sets. Fifth day is Mumbo's base, which is a simple little build. Day 6 is Cub's Pyramid, which is one of the simplest builds out of the entire advent calendar. Day 7 is Mumbo, which you also will notice that a lot of the bases are close to the figures that they go with. But like Cub's there, it isn't anywhere near the final figure, which is obviously Cub. So I just kind of put the extra ones wherever. But there's Mumbo with his torch. Next day is Grumbot, who is one of my favorites from the advent calendar. I just like how the prints turned out. He's a pretty small build as well, but still manages to look like him. Day 9 is the HEP Base, which I like how it still looks like a llama, even though that was entirely unintentional. Day 10 is the Diamond Throne, which is probably one of my least favorites, but I still think it looks pretty good. Day 11 is a Scar minifigure with a few mounds of dirt with some snow on it. Day 12 is a table, one of the more boring ones. Day 13 is Grian's mansion, which is really detailed and uses a lot of pieces. Day 14 is the upside down mansion, same build as the previous day, just with color changes and slight differences. Day 15 is Iskall. Day 16 is a Festive Sheep, which is, again, one of my favorites from the advent calendar. I'm just happy with how the face turned out on that one. Day 17 is Xisuma's tower. Day 18 is Yeti Suma, who's the first new figure. Day 19 is Seats, another pretty boring one. Day 20 is a snow golem without the pumpkin on the head, which I really like. Day 21 is Presents, which is one of my favorite non-minifigure renders from the entire series. Day 22 is the Grianch with its accessory of the 1x2 paper with naughty written on it and a single piece of coal. Day 23 is a snowy tree because LEGO tends to put less interesting builds just before the final most interesting figure, and that is Santa Cub. So now that I've shown off all 24 days, let's take a look at the advent calendar with all the builds. There it is, all 24 days opened. It's really crowded down there. But now let's take a look at some of the behind the scenes stuff. Here is the Santa Cub and how I went with designing it. Starting on the right, that's the original Santa Cub figure, which I designed way back for Series 1 because it was a simple little one, but I ended up deciding it was too simple of an alternate character, so I scrapped it all together. Then I planned it to be in my original 24 minifigure Series 2, but then when I ended up lowering that to 16 figures, I took it out because I didn't think it was interesting enough, and I went with the 16 figures that I ended up showing off. So that one I had made a long time ago, and I've just left it here. And so using the same Santa hat, which actually that's Cub's actual Christmas skin, all he usually wears is just the hat. And using that, I just had the same exact hat there on, you can see the alternate one. That was my next design, where I changed the top bit of the hat to white. But I didn't really like that because it blended in with the eyes, so I ended up leaving that out on the final one. Then I made the beard white, which I thought looked a lot better than just the gray one. Then for his torso, rather than making it just his recolored, I made it look like he's wearing like a Santa suit over top of his normal, I guess, scientist lab coat. So you can see the little pencil was recolored to red and green, which is something that I went with in the final design as well. And he still has the 3 white buttons along the side, so it's kind of like he's wearing a, I guess, sweater or something on top of his normal one, which you can see underneath. But I didn't really like how that turned out, and you can see his hands are white in this version, which I ended up not going with. and he doesn't have as much detail on the legs. He doesn't have a belt buckle or some of the white above his boots. And then you can see the final one, which has the added belt buckle and some stuff on the shoes, and then the hat is obviously recolored. And then for the torso, it's all very similar to the alternate one, just kind of closed up a bit more. And I'm actually happy with how that one turned out. I was going back and forth between the alternate one and the final one a lot just before releasing it, but I ended up settling with that one, and then I obviously mapped it onto the figure which I render in Mecha Bricks, and then rendered it to be moving with the accessory in its hand. So now let's take a look at the Grianch. So you can see the Grianch was a pretty easy one because I just added a few pixels and recolored a few other ones to make it look like the Grianch versus Grian. So you can see I changed the head color to green, I changed the hands to green, and since this figure on the right I don't actually show off, the hands are actually just recolored version of skin tone ones, since I had yet to make green hands, and hands are quite a pain in the butt to make because they have to get the perfect circles. It's actually like 2 or 3 circles to get it to look good. So for his hair, I just added the eyebrows in, and the eyes I left the same because they're black on both versions. And then for his shirt, I just added the little bit of printing for, I guess, I don't know what it is. I guess it's like a scarf or something? I'm not entirely sure. And then the legs were just left unchanged. But now let's take a look at the final new figure in the advent calendar, Yeti Suma. So you can see here how I develop a figure. Starting on the right, I take a render of the figure, of the character that I want to make, which in this case obviously was Yeti Suma, so I took his skin there. Then next, I create it in the previous style, which I used to make all my figures in, as you can see in all my past videos, where they're just like a 2D image or drawing, and I put the printing on that. And in this case, you can see I changed the hand color to be blue instead of white. And so I got all the printing on there, and then I rendered the figure facing straight. And then I put all the printing onto that, which I have to shrink, tweak, and move sometimes because the exact proportions of a figure are slightly different versus the past one that I did. So I get that looking good, and then I render the figure in a bit more of an action pose, and then I have to map all of the stuff onto the torso, which is actually quite a pain to do in Google Slides. I can't get it to ever look really good. So sometimes for the feet, I'll need to use trapezoids instead of squares or rectangles, which you can see in the back. There's kind of a trapezoid with a bit of a line in front of it to get that back foot looking good. But now we'll take a look at the box, and I think that's all I've got time for today. So I had fun doing this behind the scenes video. It's something you guys have been wanting me to do for a while. But thank you guys very much for watching. Good